A lot to think about here. Hello, guys. Welcome to the stream scene. You guys having a fantastic Monday. We have an awesome episode for you guys, talking about voice acting and streaming combined and separately. I'm joined here by the Hunter Wild as my lovely co-host. What's up, Hunter? How you doing?
Good morning. I am surviving the 8 billion 12-hour streams, but I'm trying to set a record for my personal shortest introduction on the show. We are covering something that we're talking about this briefly before the show. Oh, I already past my record. I think I've already gone.
You're already prefacing the introductions. Right, love it.
You know what? I'll let them speak for themselves. We have two incredibly talented, ridiculously inspiring streamers and voice actors with us today. Friends of both of ours, FhaeLin and Elspeth. How are you two doing today? And you have to get a full course of what you consumed for breakfast, how the weather is, and what you're about on Twitch and in voice acting. If you've got a little bit of an introduction that sort of flows with that as well. Elspeth?
Hi, I'm Elspeth. I woke up at 10 a.m. and I stepped outside and it was beautiful and sunny, and it's my day off, so I had a doctor's appointment and they were super cool about everything.
So doctor's appointment.
I came home and ate some oatmeal. It was the most exciting bowl of oatmeal I've ever eaten. It was fantastic. And then I went on a nice walk, and I came home and I laid down. I stared at my ceiling, and I really contemplated a lot of things about this week that are happening, which I'm very excited about. And then I'm here with you guys. You know, it's like things happen, event happens, undisclosed period of weeping and sobbing about
yes.
and then I'm here. Hi. That
would have been my recount of the day.
We got from A to B with just some sprinkling of things in between. But I'm very happy to be here. Yeah. So thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited to be here, also with the lovely FhaeLin. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm happy
Absolutely
to see
our pleasure.
And do you stream, by the way? Do you do any streaming?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I specifically avoid Twitch at all costs. No, I stream.
This place really sucks, you know.
I honestly, there are things I'd rather do. No, I love Twitch. I've been streaming since August 2014, and yes, God, my schedule is just so wonky at this point. You know, people are like, "Oh, is Elspeth streaming today? Sweet, awesome." It's like up in the air mostly. But yeah, Mondays are my off day, I guess, and then Tuesday through Sunday, you have me on twitch.tv/Elspeth. And you can tune in for some good times and some dumb voices, because that's what I'll be doing, most likely.
Beautiful. They are beautiful. What about you, FhaeLin?
Well, I actually had oatmeal today too. Weird.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I woke up
that's
probably
obviously
around
the breakfast of winners.
1 p.m. Yes. Well, I had lots of berries and stuff, and it was pretty good. It was good. It was good. And I sat down and watched The Tutors, and that was my day. That's it.
Productive.
I'm
That's all.
particularly fond of that pronunciation. The Tutors.
The Tutors.
The Tutors, Dad. You got a problem, Dad? But yeah, I stream too. I don't know why I'm here, but hello.
We had to beg Faye. She's so busy and famous
my
now.
My schedule is ridiculous, obviously. But yeah, that's I stream. I play lots of variety. Right now I'm doing Sekiro, which is really awesome. A little bit rage-inducing, but very worthwhile.
Not as rage-inducing as that the room you were in the other day with the Zeldas.
Dude, I got so mad at Majora's Mask. You have no idea.
Why?
I was playing it on the Wii U. No, I was playing it on Wii U. So literally everything that is possibly like moderately difficult on like the 64 controller or anything else is made infinitely worse for a first playthrough. So it was
on the Wii U, yes.
Yeah,
Of course, I didn't even think about that.
It was so.
But it was a good game. I liked it.
It's a great game. It's my favorite game of all time.
Wow.
I love it. Yep.
Damn.
Yup.
Right at the top.
Right at the top.
That's awesome.
100%.
So anyways, we're gonna be talking about voice acting today. And the reason we're doing that is because, you know, on the show, we talk about streaming, right? So we'll definitely be able to relate it to incorporating voice acting into your streams, but it's also another avenue that you see streamers take in this industry. And we always try to talk about other opportunities and thinking outside the box rather than just, you know, go streaming on Twitch and playing games, right? So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about how you guys got into voice acting? Did streaming come first? Did voice acting come first? And you know, how has streaming like played into your plans of being in part of this industry? I know it's a lot. It's a lot. Like,
Also, what is your social security number, and what is the meaning of life?
we're getting right into it, okay? We're just we're not holding back.
Sacrificed a goat. Which location of the house was it in, and did you sprinkle sage afterwards? Because that's the most important. I guess I'll start. I actually got into voice acting first. One of the avenues that I took was voice acting, just because it was involved with audio in gaming. I think that was my number one thing that I knew I wanted to do and be involved with was sound design or writing music, or just really anything that involved the audio portion, the audio aspect environment of video games. And voice acting was one of them. And I kind of fell into that after I had done a few YouTube videos doing impressions of video game characters or games that had a lot of characters to impersonate, which made it kind of like a really long demo reel, but one that was also relatable to people. You know, something that they could like hear and be like, oh, that's that character. Oh yeah. You know, there were some that obviously they fell flat on my face trying, but others were pretty decent. And they were so decent that Riot actually contacted me and asked me to do the revamp of Tristana, the rework of her voice. Right. So that was I think a huge that was a project that really helped launch my Twitch career. And because Twitch definitely came after that. And it was like during this whole process that I was also getting out of I was also graduating college. I say getting out because I was so done with it at that point. But
evacuating college.
like just defeating college. So I graduated, and this was like just it all kind of snowballed after that. Like I had gotten my degree, and I was in League of Legends at this point, and then this was like 3 or 4 months after I had gotten partnered. So it was just a whole bunch of crap just started happening at once around like the beginning of 2015. So in that time I had also done a few indie games. Like the very first game I ever did was called Crypt of the Necrodancer, and a version of that has just come out recently, which I already mentioned that I can't really discuss, but it is very exciting stuff. And there are also a lot of other games that have come out recently but are also not quite just released yet. And then there are some other games where it's like they're still under NDA, which is really sucks because those are the ones I want to talk about the most.
Of course.
Because that is seriously, it's the worst part of being involved with stuff that is under NDA, because you want to talk to everyone about it, but at the same time, it's like you can't say anything. But I am excited, and it's interesting because balancing this kind of voice acting path with Twitch, it can sometimes be a struggle, because I've had to cut into my casting time so that I can make time for a voiceover session. Like tonight, actually, I'm going to be recording a few more emotes for the project I was talking about earlier, and then another completely new project tonight. I was like, hey, would you be able to do this and get it back to us within like 24 hours? I'm like, yes, I can. So it's like,
do you say no for projects?
Yeah, there are a lot of projects where it's usually like cold emails that I'm like, you know, I really don't know this person. I'm not familiar with their work. I haven't seen anything. I haven't worked with them prior. I have no, you know, mutuals with them. So it's kind of hard for me to it was at first hard to discern, like, do I want this project? You know, am I able to take this on right now? And will they actually hold up, you know, their end of the bargain, which is paying you? Because a lot of times if you get involved with like, I'm going on a tangent, by the way, I'm really sorry.
No, I'm loving this. Keep going.
I'm so immersed right now.
Yeah.
It's a thing, and I did it. there. I'm
So,
just
well,
gonna
okay, so
stop
you
right
weren't
there for a second.
you weren't so hungry that you were jumping on everything.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, this was right after Tristan had happened as well. In League of Legends, it was just like one project after another. And I had also, this was also stressful because I was trying to keep my my Twitch channel going too, because this was like back
Yeah.
like I said in 2015, where I'm like, okay, so now I have to do everything. Now we're not only voice acting, but we're going to cons and we're trying to network with all these people and trying to make sure that the stream is maintained. And then, you know, so the voice acting is maintained, that I have enough time for that. And then on top of that, you've got to make sure your voice is okay, because if you cast for long periods of time,
Right.
you know, sometimes your
Yeah.
voice could go
That's
out.
one I know well.
Or you
For
can
sure.
get muscle tension dysphonia.
Yeah, or you can get one of those crazy things, one of those crazy TLAs that, you know, a lot of people hate. It's just the worst because you never know, and that's why it's like you have to keep your health. You have to think about your health too, because if you get sick a lot, especially if you get a sore throat, you're really
yes.
You're out of work.
really
Yeah.
screwed.
Well, so
Yeah,
for somebody
yeah.
who's interested in transitioning or looking at it or in the process of doing that, like what would you say about trying to balance all that stuff at the same time? And especially the thing that I'm sort of getting locked into is to what things do you say no? And even if you aren't feeling like you're getting enough traction or getting enough work, you know, you often can feel desperate,
Well, this
right? Where you're
even
like, I'm
plays
just gonna say
into
yes to
like
everything.
this even plays into like streaming too, because there are gigs that
Absolutely.
you will get offered that you have to say no to, and
Mhm.
like it's not just a voiceover thing. It's overall, if you want to get involved in any entertainment type like industry, whether it be Twitch, whether it be, you know, Mixer, YouTube, you want to get into voice acting, you want to get into acting, there are going to be gigs that do not fit either your style of work, they don't fit your schedule, or you don't know this person, like Elspeth was mentioning earlier. So
Right.
it has to
Sure.
do with a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of guts to really to cold email someone, to just to be like, well, I'm going to ask them to participate in my project and see what they say. But it really does depend on whether you know them, whether you know their work, if you know any of their acquaintances. Like, it really helps if they say, hey, this friend of ours recommended me to you. I'm familiar with your work. A lot of emails are, hey, can I pay you to do like my ringtone or something?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, I won't. I'm sorry, that's not.
Oh, forward
not a
those to
thing.
me. I've got that one.
Yeah, it's like it's very, you know, I don't know. You have to be, like I said, you have to be discerning. And I think it can be hard to tell which projects are legitimate and which ones are just like, hey, this is
Sure.
my senior project in college and I really need help with this and I can't pay you anything, but I can pay you when we start making money. And it's like that is like the most I would never say that to someone. I would
Yeah.
never say I can't
It's
pay you now,
ballsy.
but when
That's
I
straight
start
up, yeah.
making money, I will pay you. Like, that's not how that works. When you get funding, that's when you're able to take on a team. Like that. If you cannot take on a team, don't focus on this project right now, because it's
The day that I can buy
bonkers.
groceries and by going up to
it's
the
like,
register and
dude,
going
I
like,
mean-
I'll pay you when I get the cash, man.
Yeah.
Is the day that I'm gonna
a
approach
lot of-
somebody else about work like that.
Exactly. I think a lot of people still view it as art, and they think art is something that can be taken
I'll pay
advantage
you an
of.
exposure.
I'll pay you an exposure. I
Constant.
don't really see the E word a whole lot anymore. I don't see exposure, but
Mhm.
it is you know, it's like cred, or you'll get this particular whatever, the shout out on something, and it's like that's not really what people are looking
Yeah.
for. That's not what helps build a good portfolio. So yeah, it's I think at first it's good to take on free work, because you know, if you have nothing else to work with, then yeah, do that, but also maintain your dignity. Like, just know what looks interesting to you, and if you think this person is going to finish the job, like, there are so many things that I've done work for that just have never seen the light of day. Like, they've never happened, and they are just sitting there on the back burner. So kind of sucks, but then you just
I think
move
that
on to
does
the
make
next
some
thing.
sense, though, right? Like, how do you get your chops if you know, if with zero experience, then
Right.
you've got very little that you can show, that you're like, hey, I've got all this, you know, stuff that I've done, hire me for decent cash. And instead of that, you know, I guess you probably have to balance it out by taking on projects because you're passionate about the thing and wanting to build a reel and wanting to build that experience that you can then leverage in the future into paying gigs and stuff.
Well, you can make a demo reel without
Sure.
having any gigs whatsoever, and that's
Yeah.
really like, for me, for most of the things that I have gotten recently, because I have transitioned from Twitch into voiceover stuff, and it was one of those things that I was too shy to like even talk to people about, because that's just how I've always been. I literally would sit in my room and like record myself doing voices, pretty much. And then, you know, that develops. You want to build an even more professional kind of demo reel, and you want to work on that. Like, I'm in the process of making a better one now because I'm not 100% satisfied with my last one. And you constantly need to have something that like you can actually show to someone, like concrete proof. Hey, like I can do this type of a voice. Maybe that's not what you originally even envisioned. And sometimes like these people will even swap over and be like, I heard this demo reel, this was badass, and I want to pick this part of it. Like, can you do that voice? It happens. So it's one of those things where like, yes, experience is definitely going to play into it, right? Like, especially as someone who is not as seasoned as Elspeth, obviously, and like I haven't had as many gigs and everything like that. But as so, like in that retrospect, getting started, if you have a demo reel, that's literally the beginning of it. You need to have that in order to expect anyone to want to hire you.
Now, how do you craft that? What kinds of things are you are there like some good things to keep in mind, or actual hard and fast rules, or like how do you build that?
Well, the thing is that typically people will listen to a minute, if even that, of your demo reel. So you don't want to go
at the
over.
time. It's got to be kind of limited.
Yeah, the timer has to be like super short. You have to have it either be something like rapid fire and not impersonating things. Like, at least that's what I've been told from people that like I've spoken with, that they do look for people having original work in their demo reel. So for mine, I listened to like the the rapid fire ones, and I went back and forth and I kind of debated, and I made mine more of like an episodic type thing where like the characters were actually interacting with each other and you're still showing off your range. So you can
cool.
you can be creative with it still. There's nothing wrong obviously with like a rapid fire one, like that's the industry standard from what I've seen. And it just seems to be the fact that like you just want to show off your range in as little amount of time as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. There is I'm a horrible example of this because I haven't updated my reel since 2014. What I did was I kept it under a minute. I didn't use any filters or anything on my voice because I got some feedback from directors that said if you use a filter or anything, even just like a slight like EQ on your voice, it's not your natural speaking voice, and that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that you're able to do this particular skill without adding something to it. So I had to go and redo it in 2014. I was like, I guess I'll just put this out here without any effects on it. So that was a big thing. Like, okay, well, I really can't rely. Yeah, I can't like
that makes a lot of sense.
Use this as a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
But to tie in Twitch with that, Twitch has been amazing. It's like it's like you could just do reel every day. I mean, if you tune into like FhaeLin's stream, she is always doing some kind of wacky voice. And if I were a director, I'd be like, well, shit, all I have to do is sit here for 5 minutes and I probably will hear what I want.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really great way. I mean, if you already have an established Twitch channel, that's going to be a great way for you to just show off your skills right there. I mean, that's why I haven't really made a voice reel, because a lot of people are like, they find me through Twitch, and then through that it's just kind of like branched off. My voice reel is just sitting over here like no one's really listening to that. They're watching the show. They're not going to the reel. Or at this point, if they hear me in some kind of game besides the Twitch stream, that's great because that originated from the Twitch channel. So now it's just like this whole web of building. I hear you here and I hear you here and I hear you here. Right. So your work it really helps to start, once you get in something and people start listening to that, and if it's a prominent project, that's going to be something that people will just base what they want right there. I've gotten so many people asking, like, can you do this? Can you have that same energy as Tristana? So it's, you know, your work sells itself.
I mean, I did it once.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like they know that you can do that. And then I get these weird requests for like stuff that I obviously I can't do. Like I got a request for like, hey, can you have like this sort of Kurt Russell vibe, like this very gruff. I'm like, listen, I'm like a 28-year-old woman.
Maybe if my balls drop.
maybe perhaps. I'm still working on growing my salt and pepper beard here, but I'll hit you back up when I do. So
Send them to your boy.
you have to know. You have to know like what you're able to do. And I can't sound like a man. I just can't. I cannot. I've tried. I've worked on it. Can't do it. Cannot do it.
I do a pretty fantastic Southern Belle, which is pretty much every woman voice I do in any game.
Oh,
I
geez.
believe it. I'm not sure if you guys. Well, you know what? Actually, he's got quite a few friends in the industry, but he's been twitching for a really long time. Elegy of Games, Nick Call
Yes.
is a fantastic example of doing that kind of like vocal switching where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, now you sound like a little girl and this is freaking me out. He is insanely good at it.
Convincing.
Insanely good at it. Now, I wish I had that kind of range, but I don't, because my voice is definitely not, my vocal cords are not that deep.
It's important to know
unfortunately.
that too. Like, you don't want to strain your
Yes.
voice trying to do something
Yeah.
you can't
I
do and
cannot-
hurt yourself
right.
long term.
Where are your limits?
The thing about it is a lot of if, like, for example, a lot of women cannot sound like men, but men can train their voice to do like a much more like falsetto version, which is what Nick does. So he can go a little bit more falsetto with that, and really like hone that. But for me, it would involve like I'd probably have to get like surgery if I really wanted to, you know, start sounding like a man. I just couldn't do it. And this is, of course, not. This is just like traditional, right? The traditional sound of a man, traditional sound of a woman. I'm not saying like this is how a man and a woman should sound. It's just that I would not be able to get my vocal cords that
That
deep.
low, yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Right.
So Faye,
Um,
what, like, for you, like, did you start streaming first before you decided to get
Yes.
into voice acting?
Mhm.
Did you always want
So-
to voice act though?
This is cool because
Yes.
we've got two different directions on that.
Yes.
Opposite perspectives. But I always wanted to get into voice acting because like I loved Robin Williams when I was a kid. So I don't know. I always wanted to, but I never really like used to do accents and stuff around my friends. It's kind of one of those things like I would do them at home, you know, by myself when no one was home. But in terms of streaming, like since CS:GO days, like I always did, because that's when I started playing. When I started streaming, I always kind of did voices. Like I would do voices while you know, playing CS:GO, and like my teammates would be like, what is going on right now? You know, just to like have fun, just to have fun and do something different.
Right.
And it just developed over the years, and like everybody kept nagging me like, why don't you like try voice acting? So I ended up just deciding, hey, you know, this is something I wanted to give it a go, and like I've been working actively to find more gigs, and it's just gone from there.
Do you feel like pulling stuff from your stream has helped a lot? Like do you see your stream as like a practice session for your voice acting?
Yes. I mean, like it sounds so silly to say that, but it definitely helps because I'll actively be listening, and you know, nobody while watching live expects you to get accents perfect or anything. Like my Australian one is atrocious, and it's like a meme in my channel at this point. But you can constantly like hear yourself if like you're monitoring, you know, your voice obviously when you stream. And like for me, it's helped me develop like even my Irish accent and like all of these other ones that I've wanted to do that I just haven't had time off stream to take the time to learn them and watch videos and stuff. So even like playing games and listening to the voice actors in those games as well has really helped, not even like with just me doing voices, but being able to listen to these voice actors and to hear their accents and to hear how they verbiate things is a fountain of knowledge and super helpful. So
how do you guys find these voices? Like, you know, like you have your your old lady voice or something? Like, how do you find the characters or like the type of voices that you do, if that makes sense?
A lot of it's based off real people.
Yeah.
Actual people that I've encountered where I'm like, you are a character and a half. Like the I guess the like the Midwestern kinda, you know, I've known people like that where
The
they just
Minnesotan.
the Minnesotan, and you know they'll talk like this. They'll have like a very slight this kind of like long, like dragged out A, and you know they kind of have that going on in like Chicago a little bit too. So we get a lot of Chicago people over here, and it's like as a kid I hung around some family friends from Chicago, and I was just like entranced by how they spoke. It was like these, them, and those, and that's how we're
What
gonna
to a
speak.
tree?
These, them,
That's
and
how my
those.
mom's boyfriend speaks. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I don't speak like that at all. I sound like the guy on the radio. Why don't I have something cool like this? You know, so I guess learning that as a kid, I never really. Now this is weird. I never wanted to get into voice acting as a kid. It was never like, it was a passion. Like it became a passion probably like 4 years ago. I think I fell into it. It was never a dream of mine. It was never like I'm going to do voice acting. It was just like I think I can do this. I'm going to do this.
I love having these complete polar opposite
Yeah.
like directions, perspectives.
It was always about music for me. I was always very, very like, I'm going to do music someday and I'm going to write. And, you know, I'm not going to sing because screw that. I hate singing. But gosh, I'm going to compose for video games. That's what I want to do. But voice acting, I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever. You know, and now it's like, yeah, I love voice acting. And that's a lot of where the imposter syndrome comes from too. Cause I'm like,
Sure.
you know, I never really got into this stuff until like 5 years ago. So
Right. I'm so new. I'm so fresh. Everybody else is a veteran, obviously.
right. Like, I can do that. Yep. I can do it. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
I
that's
feel a
like
lot of
prep
it
for.
stems from people and stems from like knowing.
Yeah.
And you know, you have to make fun of yourself too, right? I think if you know what you're good, how good you are with a certain accent, like Faye said with Australian. I'm also a little bit rough on Australian still. But
Let me know when you master it.
yeah, for sure. I've actually been trying to like listen as much as I can, but knowing people and knowing different types of character and really being, I think a lot of voice actors have to be really observant. I'm not like tooting my own horn here, like I see every single one of you. It's just like you really have to take in different characters and then exaggerate those parts of that person, because that's really what voice acting is just an exaggeration of character. So it's fun, but you know, you don't want to go too overboard with it. It's just you got to do just the right amount of Minnesotan, otherwise it just becomes a caricature, and that's just
Yeah, if it's
you know
like
one
too
wants that.
caricatured.
Ah, jeez.
So what about like physical prep and training? So like there's the, you know, exactly what you guys are talking about for, you know, a strong portion of this so far is like acclimating yourself, familiarizing yourself with the things that you're going to be replicating. But what about things like practices for enunciation, vocal practice,
Warm-ups?
warming up? Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
involved
don't
in
do
that?
that.
Really?
What's involved on that
Nope,
side?
I
Okay,
never
what do
do
your
like,
friends
Mama
do
made me
then?
mash my M&Ms. Oh my, I never do that. I'm like, I find that so tedious. There's
Yeah, sure.
been some mornings where I wake up and I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay, let's do this.
And then you're just in it, really.
And then you're just in it. You know, I'm like, here's me at the diving board. Jump. I don't, there's nothing. I just do it. There's no Daniel Day-Lewis smoking a cigarette
Really?
method acting. I just
This is
do
super
it.
surprising.
I'm
Faye, what about you,
surprised
Faye?
too.
What
Yeah.
happened?
What about
Not
you?
me either.
You do
No,
warm-ups?
Nothing
No?
about you?
No, not at all. I mean, we probably should. That's
Yeah,
like
you
that's
know,
I figured
I
you'd
learned
need
it in
it.
chorus.
That alcoholic that's like, I should probably quit drinking, but gosh, you know, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I really never got into that that idea. I feel like I find myself when I am recording, and that's how I get my energy. Like, okay, I'm heating up a little bit, but now I'm really warmed up because
You've been
it's
doing this voice now for like 10 minutes. You know?
yeah. I don't really do a whole warm ups. I guess I drink some water.
That's good. Do you guys
Water's
like suffer so you guys never suffer any vocal strain when streaming a long period of time, especially like doing your voices during the stream?
Well, for
haven't.
me, I went a little too overboard during a couple of longer streams that I had because I was playing Persona 5. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to voice in that game.
Yeah.
And half the cast is like super, high-pitched female. So I ended up actually developing muscle tension dysphonia, which basically means like my vocal cords, like when I do higher pitched noises at the moment, if I'm trying to do like a high pitched sound, they actually aren't vibrating off of one another, which is what is supposed to happen. So you really got to be careful. Otherwise, that can happen to you, or you can develop polyps and stuff. Because I know quite a few of my broadcaster friends who don't even do like voices and stuff on stream just because of that constant like talking for 8-9 hours ends up, just completely draining their body and causing these things.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had issues with my voice and like doing a lot of like GTA RP and stuff and like doing silly voices and singing. And I definitely like, for me, it's like, I know I don't use my voice properly either. My friend's a speech language pathologist. She tells me all the time. And so especially for streamers, like going like, 10 hours in a stream or doing a 24-hour stream or something, I was hoping you guys would be like, this is what we do. You should do it too. But now, whatever.
I mean, I do have a lot of vocals.
Give me the wisdom.
Like, all the time. I'm always like drinking tea and lots of water and like before and like during cats I'll have like a lozenge or something. That's pretty much it. Just lots of water. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys are terrible examples.
I don't do any of that.
Yeah, maybe we should leave.
We need new guests.
Drink water. I drink a lot of water on cast, but I think that's probably the only thing I really do. I don't. Other than that, I really pay it no mind. I guess it's one of those things that's functioning until it doesn't, and when it doesn't, that's when I'll be like, all right, time for those warm-ups Grandpappy warned me about. I have to start doing that. You do have to take care of your health, but hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I just drink water.
You guys cater your
They're
content.
very disappointed right now.
I know, whatever. I'm over it. Do you guys cater your content towards your? Is it really?
It might be. It's okay. It's a day. It's a Monday.
You guys cater your content towards your voice acting abilities. Like, do you find yourself playing more RP games because you know you can use that skill and it's more entertaining? Or you just do whatever?
No.
Really?
Oh God. There was a time where I was like, I'm gonna voice act everything, and this is gonna be. I'm gonna do this every Sunday, and I'm gonna employ my voice here and
like
get shot my acting chops.
genius.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore because it was not only was it hard to keep up, but it didn't feel natural. It was not the improvisation that I really enjoy on cast. So I just I don't know. It just it happens. It's when I'm emotional, I'll start just slipping into some other accent. I don't know. It's hard to explain after a while because it just kind of feels natural to, I guess, dive into another voice when I'm feeling sad or if I'm really happy about something. I express joy a lot through other, I guess, dialects. So it's
Wait, how does that work? Wait. Give me a little bit more on that one. You express joy through other dialects.
Yeah, sure. Right?
I mean, that's a good way to phrase it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good then.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know how to like say it. I don't know.
Is it just like it feels particularly expressive?
Yeah.
Of
Sometimes it's just easier to be someone else in that regard too. Like, you want to exaggerate how happy you are playing some game, or like doing something. Oh,
yeah, dude. I bust out the Randy Savage a lot. I mean, that is something where it just encapsulates what you're feeling, So,
do you guys have any resources that you guys have used to either find work or learn about voice acting? Like, you guys just overnight, you're just like, I know how to voice act. I got this. I'm ready.
Nailed it.
Oh
I have the
man,
resource
yeah.
now.
Quite a few
The
things.
internet.
There were a lot of things just that I had some really good directors teach me that I was aware that I was doing, and through those lessons, I was able to incorporate that obviously with other
Sure.
voiceover projects. But I knew one was standing up straight is incredibly important. Mic position is very important. Even now, when I say my P's, I try not to just spit everywhere. I'm so hyper aware of pronouncing my P's because when you're that close to the microphone, sometimes it can blow out the mic if you're not careful. Same thing with W's. Surprisingly enough, you say what, and then the whoosh of air that just this tiny whoosh of air that
I mean,
comes out.
S's too are a problem. Like that's my biggest one because my S
There's
sounds
which?
are
S.
so emphasized. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so like a sibilant S, you have to work on a sibilant S. You
Mhm.
know,
Sibilant
if you've
S.
got something right, sibilant S.
It's
Got to work on your sibilants. But if it comes out differently, and you're not, and someone's not used to hearing that, like if a director's saying, "Hey, maybe don't do like a lateral S when you're speaking," it's like, I really can't help that, so I've got to work on it. I realized that I was doing that a lot when I would say words like slide or slick. I would kind of go like slick a little bit, and so I kind of have to retrain my entire jaw movement in that sense, and you have to be so aware of how you're speaking and what you're saying, because even the word because, what I said,
Mhm.
I would say because instead of or instead of fur, I would say for. I'm going to the store for some butter. I'm going to the store for some butter. It's just little stuff like that I don't even realize I'm doing, and the director's saying, "Hey, you remember that this is how this character would pronounce this word. So just try and be as authentic as you can." You know what else bugs me? Can I just talk about a pet peeve here for a second?
Absolutely.
So I'm watching Netflix and I see and someone's got this weird name or whatever, like someone says, "Oh, you're so beautiful, Gaia." And then another character comes along and they very clearly say that this person's name is Gaia. Someone else comes along and say, "Yeah, Gaia is so beautiful." Like, that's not what they said. They did not explicitly say that.
It happens a lot in video games though, like all the
I
time.
know.
Yeah.
All the
I'm
time.
like,
It's so frustrating.
that's not how this person says it. That is not the correct pronunciation. Why did the director not go, "Hey, these two characters are not saying this word the same way"? Like, doy. That just bothers me so much. So I'm like, I can hear that there was some lack in direction when it comes to names or just pronunciation of worlds or what have you. So that really bothers me.
I can see it happening a lot in video games where it's like
Yeah.
people recording their separate parts, right? So they're
Yeah.
not talking directly to each
Exactly.
other, and
There's
then
no
no one
communication.
reviews, or two
Yeah.
different people review it, right?
There's no
But that's the
communication.
kind of
There's no
thing-
relay. Yeah.
I mean, at least it's
That's the kind of
standard
thing where
acting.
you need to look at the script
Exactly.
as a director and say, "Ooh, somebody might have a problem with this here word. So let me go." Well, I don't know why that doesn't happen. But
Or there's
do it.
multiple directors in that case. They can have multiple sessions with people that are not communicating the proper way to say a word, and so then it just gets jumbled. And then you as a player are like, "Well, is it Gaia or is it Gaia? Like, what? How are we saying this word?" So that bothers me, and I feel like that should be paid attention to more.
Fair.
And soapbox.
that one really grinds my gears.
So when you guys started out, or even now, how do you guys find work? Is it just you put your demo reel out and you hope for the best, or do you go after projects? How do you guys find work?
Just check my email.
Yeah.
It sounds really pretentious, but I actually I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people reach out to me after Riot and after Crypt and the Necrodancer. So I've had a pretty steady array of projects that I've been working on for the past 4 years. There were a couple people that I cold emailed, and then one of those projects was actually very recent, this January. So they're working on it now, and I'm excited about it. I was like, "Hey, I really want to read for this. Let me read for this." And the director was like, "Well, okay. Well, you got the part. We liked it." So it was like, "All right, dope. I should do this more often." So I was really happy about that. But yeah, other than that, I just kind of roll with it. I'm like, "All right, Cosmos, let's go." Give me
Rolling
some voice
dice.
acting jobs. I don't know. I'm cruising, I guess. I'm just whatever the tide
But
may
right
bring.
now,
Sure.
now you have the renown to just
That
get
steady
work,
flow
right?
of work, yeah. Well, for me, like there are some parts that like I have reached out for and whatnot, but most of it honestly, because I did put my reel out on YouTube and like somebody might come across my Twitch channel, they'll reach out too. So that's been most of it. But the thing is, like, if you don't already have that kind of a community, you have to think about, like, you have to think outside of the box in terms of how the hell am I going to get a job? Like, how am I going to do this work? And the problem is, like, there are so many websites that, like, are, you know, there's paid options, there's
Oh yeah,
unpaid
God, those are
options.
bad.
There's like, there's like these casting call websites where, like, you have to sift through thousands and thousands of jobs and they might not even fit for you. There are like a bunch of other people applying for those already. They might not even pay you right. And like there are mod projects and everything for like Skyrim and
That's true,
Fallout.
too.
Mod projects can be very, very
Yeah.
good. If
that's
I
interesting.
may, I totally agree with finding stuff on the internet and how that can be
Mhm.
very fruitful. What I think the number one thing, maybe almost in any entertainment aspect, is it's not what you know, it is who you know. It's the connections that you make. It's the networking that you're going to do. And it's ultimately these people that you know who are going to bring you jobs. So one of the reasons that I was able to find a lot of work was because I already knew people in sound design. I already knew audio directors because I had connected with them previously. At my first ever conference was at the Game Developers Conference in 2011. And I went out of my way. I was like out of my mind. I was just handing out business cards. I was going to all these parties. I was trying to like schmooze all these people, drink whatever, like with anybody. I would take shots with people. And I'm just like, okay, well, my body can't handle this, but I'm just going to keep going for like a week because I really want to make these connections. And I really want people to know that I want to write music. Now, this is back when I was like, okay, I'm writing music. This was also when I was super, super broke. I sold all of like my musical equipments just so I could like afford a plane ticket to GDC because I really wanted to go that
Wow.
badly. I sold my drum set, I sold my synthesizer, I sold my computers. I worked like double time at my job. I was just like, I really want to put in the time and money so that I can go to this conference. And I bought this ticket. My mom at the time, because I was living at home, she was so upset. She was like, "What are you doing? You just threw away that money for this ticket. Why would you want to go to this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Mom, I'm going. I want to be in games somehow. I will be the freaking gopher. I will get coffee for these people on the team. I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes to be in sound design, in audio, in gaming. That is what I'm going to do." And so from there, it was like that need to be recognized somehow on a team, that those connections really, really did come because people can see when you're passionate. They can see when you want something. They can see this person is very driven. And it's not like, oh, they're desperate, but they're confident enough in their ability to know that they can do this. And so that confidence in yourself really does come from meeting people and knowing people and letting them know, hey, I exist, I'm out here. Because I think if you just rely on the internet and you don't go out and actually meet these people and you don't make the effort to go to conferences and conventions or really any meetup of people that are prominent directors and leaders in the industry, then you will not go anywhere because these people are the ones that are going to get you the job.
And I think this is uniquely critical, and it's something I've heard in many different sectors and industries, which is if you want to network, you go get jobs oriented around that thing. Go familiarize.
Go talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That it's not like it's so easy for us to want that. Hey, give me that, that pro hack tip so I can like hack my way into the career by just doing that one thing that works. But it's like, there's a reason why that's clickbait, because everybody wants that thing, and it just doesn't really, like, sure, there's a chance that some of these things may work and that may stand out, but the reliable approach to get that networking done is actually involve yourself fully, dedicate yourself into that segment of the industry. That's how you make those connections. You can't just hopefully reply to somebody on Twitter 3 times and they'll remember you and want you for a job.
Right. I feel like that's the same way like it is with Twitch. I mean, as long as you are not you're not stepping over boundaries and you're respecting people and people really like you, they'll remember how you made them feel. You know, so you want to be as nice to people as you can, be as genuine to people as you can. You know, it's not what you do for them, it's if they're comfortable with you, right? Because there are some people that are really, really nice, but you can still feel totally uncomfortable with that person, and you're never going to hire them. You'll never work with them because they make you feel uncomfortable. So it's like, you got to take a shot. You know, if you've got to be the right person for the job in terms of whether or not they think they can work with you. Because if they think they can squeeze a voice out of you, awesome. If they can't, and if they don't want to, then it's not happening. So it's just really all about connecting with the person rather than, hey, I'm looking for a job.
Yes.
Yeah. And those in-person connections like applies to streaming too. It's so powerful. Like being able to like meet someone. Like I like that's been my best way to network, was just like meeting people at parties and going to booths, giving out my cards, shaking hands with game developers and stuff like that.
That's
like
how Logan and I met too.
Yeah, that face-to-face connection is super powerful.
Yeah, it does matter so much. And I remember how nervous I was shaking, you know, because I didn't know where to go. I was so scared. I was so terrified of meeting people and all around me just thinking, oh my God, these people know what they're doing. Everyone here knows what they're doing. I know
Nobody
nothing.
does.
I know
Nobody
nothing.
does.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything.
We're all shaking
You know,
inside or out.
We're all scared.
Yeah, it's just horribly
We're all just cold, wet chihuahuas
my
inside.
God.
We're meant to be in our rooms playing video games by ourselves.
Oh my God. I mean,
with the lights off.
Yes. Like that whole trip, I wanted to just stay in my hotel room and just nervously sip coffee to myself and just rock back and forth like, okay. But
me before every Twitch party, just
you know, I really do not feel like that anymore. I don't feel like that whole I don't belong here. Like I really do feel like I belong on Twitch, and I really do feel like voice acting is a wonderful path to take, and that I am, you know, solid enough and confident enough that I can keep doing it. But I remember starting, and I remember thinking, how will this ever work? How could this work? Yeah. But persistence is very important too. I think, you know, not being persistent enough to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Like don't barrage anybody, but be persistent in yourself. Be persistent in your confidence, and know what you can do. Because when you start testing yourself, and I mean really like starting to, I guess, test your own boundaries. Like, what are you comfortable doing with voice acting? How comfortable are you with this particular voice? I'm not comfortable with it, but I will work to the best of my ability to make sure that I can sound like this for this director. There have been so many times where I've been outside of my comfort zone and they're like, yeah, sounds great. We really love it. Like, well, that was uncomfortable for me. How is it for you guys? But it was, you know, as long as it's good, as long as they enjoy it, that's what matters.
Yeah.
So, man, it's a ride. It's a ride. It's a ride of nerves. A lot of nerves.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing that popped up to me too in a lot of this is that sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, about both of you in different ways, is that sort of eye on the prize thing. I'm not going to use my favorite word here, but a long distance eye on the prize. What's that thing on the horizon that you're working toward? No matter if it's 3 steps or 27 steps down the road, you are wanting to hit each one of those steps, and you're going to make sure that you do that in order to, like, selling all your stuff to get that, like that's a ridiculous level of commitment that did pay off. And of course, you know, not everybody's going to have to do that particular version of it, but that's the kind of thing that feels critical to attend to for a lot of people who want any job in this or probably many industries. It's like, what's that end point, and how do you work toward that end point instead of just I want to get there tomorrow. What's my today move? It's like what's next year's move? Kind of stuff. You guys, are you working through some of that right now, or is now sort of like a flow time? Especially you, FhaeLin, I think because of the way that you were talking about where you are right now in your progress.
Well, honestly, I just want to work on stuff that I'm proud of putting out. You know, like for me, even with Twitch, you know, people always say, "Oh, what is there after partnership?" Even right? Like there's no end goal to that, right? But there is, you want to constantly be improving and doing things that like make you happy and proud of putting out. I guess I don't really have anything that I'm like, hi, 100%, I want to voice a trash can in the next Elder Scrolls. I mean, I totally
I think
would,
that would be a good
but,
fit for me.
but the thing is, like, I just feel like I just want to do things that sound good and make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's fair. So guys, we do have some Q&A questions. If you guys want to post any related to today's show, feel free to do that in the chat. I'll try to gather them up and we'll answer what we can. We do have a couple already. So our first one comes from Chef Hazmat, who asks, what is some equipment that if someone wants to put together an audio reel at home, what is some equipment that they should have?
Acoustic foam. Like,
Yep.
you should really look into acoustic foam first, because you want your reel to sound good. And even with the best microphone, if you have a lot of reverberation around your room, it's going to sound pretty poor.
Even like a U87 sounds like trash if you have an echoey room. I have to sound treat this one at the moment, and it, like, you can even tell when I'm talking too that like there is either like a boxy sound for if your room is very squared, or if you have a very wide open room with little to no curtains and like few things in it, it's gonna echo and it's not gonna sound very good. So definitely like invest in, even like people who get started with voiceover and whatnot, from like my discussions with friends, like they started recording in their closets, just because there's less. Well, there you go. So like, I mean,
Oh, having some roboting.
Oh dear.
well, she's just going back to her roots. Domo regato.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Okay. All right.
No,
You wanna try
that's
Go
good.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. I mean, did you want to say what was said?
The
I don't-
last part.
yeah.
The
The
last
last
sentence.
The last part.
We lost it.
The last part. Oh God, what did I just say?
Something about
We'll never
recording in a
know.
closet.
Oh,
And then
recording in a closet, like
flip
that's
word.
better than just, recording in a room that's big and open and has a lot of reverb in it. That's, like, it's hard to take that kind of thing out of a recording in the first
Yeah.
place. So that makes recording your demo reel a lot easier. And yeah, you don't really have to spend like a crazy amount. You can get a mid-range, like regular cardioid microphone and you'll be fine.
What's like the minimum mic that you recommend? Like the cheapest mic, I
I
guess.
used an MXL 990 for the longest time. That was
What brand is
oh
that?
God, was it a compressor mic? Hang on. I don't even remember. I think it was a condenser microphone. It was really good, and it got the job done. It was very, very clear. You do need a pop filter with it, because
Yep.
otherwise you're just gonna blow your mic out. And as for recording, you can use almost, I mean, at this point, I'm so unfamiliar with recording programs because I've been using Logic for such
Reaper's
a long
free.
time. Reaper's free.
good.
GarageBand is free.
Mhm.
Audacity. I don't know if you can record on Audacity or not. But I know that a lot of people use Audacity.
Mhm.
But there are definitely free programs out there for recording your voice. But I am not very familiar with them, unfortunately. But yeah, my first microphone was an MXL 550. For this, I use an Audio-Technica 2035 for my stream. It's really it's pretty average, but it does the job. I don't really need a super expensive microphone for my stream. For voiceover now, I use a Neumann, which is like, it's like a really, really high end, like,
It's
professional
luxury.
microphone.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So for getting started, I'd say MXL, Audio-Technica, Blue microphones are pretty good. As long as you don't go with like a Snowball. You'll be
Yeah,
good.
one of their mid-ranged, they have like a Spark. They have the Bluebird I've used for a while now on stream, and it's decent. Like it works. It does well. It does have like an interesting, like, artificial-ish high end. But you can kind of get past that in recording as well.
So do you guys record like at home, or do you guys like go to a studio for these jobs, or you just record here?
Home.
I don't know.
Yeah?
I'd say it's like, I guess, half and half.
Okay.
Not half and half, maybe more like 40% studio, 60% home. Because my home studio right now is like how I would want it to be in a studio, and I want it to be studio quality. So that is primarily what I use. There have been some directors that are like, we'll fly you out here. We want you out here in a studio with us. We want you with the whole team. So, it's really just depends on the project and what they're comfortable doing.
Yeah, I always assumed like you needed like a pretty high-end mic, like a good studio or something, like a really specific setup to get into voice acting.
Well, if you're getting started, like, you can't invest a crazy amount of money into it anyway. Because at the beginning, it's a hobby. It's something you want to just. I lost my track. But anyway, basically, you don't have to spend a crazy amount of money. Like a mid-range microphone, a decent mixer, maybe a compressor, but you can even add compression on in any program that you record. So,
in a virtual audio mixer or whatever, yeah.
Cool. We have a question from Blue Spoons who asks, at what point, like a poker player, do you know when to maybe fold the cards? Everyone needs a fallback plan.
Oh.
That's a really good question. I don't know. I would say I'm going to ride this train as long as it goes. Yeah, at what point? I guess if it starts becoming something I don't like doing, if it becomes a chore, then that is when I will stop. Because if I really truly do not enjoy what I'm doing, I'll stop. I just won't do it anymore. But I do think that it will it'll have to. I think the work will have to really start drying up before I stop enjoying it, because it is a very fun path of life, and it's a varied job. You have a bunch of different projects, and it's not going to be the same studio that you're working with every time. It's not the same people that you're working with every time. So that makes it so much more colorful. And I think I'd have to just stop getting a steady work for me to realize I'm no longer going to do this. If people don't want my voice in a game, then I won't do it, because like I said, it's got to dry up first. Well's got to run dry before I stop.
Would you go into the engineering side of things if you didn't do voice acting?
Sure. I'd definitely try other aspects, because I think one thing with voice acting is that you do have to know how to work some audio, right? You have to know how to mix a little bit, and because this is how you're going to make your demo reel. Unless you get someone to make it for you, which that's going to cost you money. Yeah, that's going to cost you money. You do have to know a little bit about mixing and mastering your own voice and what sounds really good. So for me, that came after like years and years and years and years of writing music and working on like freaking Cakewalk when I was like 9 years old. I was like, I want to work on Cakewalk. All right, now I've got Fruity Loops. All right, now I have GarageBand. Yeah. Now I have all of this. Just after like literal decades of working with computers and mixing and all this audio effect crap that I could now put into voiceover. So if voiceover would ever go, then I would go into sound design. I would go, yeah, absolutely. I'd go into engineering. I would go into any aspect of that involved mixing. Maybe not necessarily even writing music, just like sound design proper would be super fun.
Awesome. What about you, Faye?
Luckily we have streaming too.
That is true.
But if both things went awry, like I would still want to work in games in general. Maybe doing like some sort of a community kind of job in order to still talk to people and be able to like have these conversations. I guess.
What about you, Loco? Would you get into voice acting?
Would I get into it? I mean, I do fun voices on stream. They're not good. I don't know if I have the skills to kind of do actual voices for something that was serious, like. I
mean, your Fat Albert's pretty good.
Hey. That one's my most requested one, I think. Or, I have get to the chopper, y'all, get down. That one's gotten pretty popular.
I did rather enjoy your southern Red Dead Redemption accent.
Well, that's just natural, I just have that country twang in my voice. It's fun. I love doing it on stream. I don't think I could. I don't think anyone would want to do that for their game, though.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know, I guess. We do have a question from Bombardactyl, who says, what is your most/least favorite voice to do in your portfolio? Good question.
Tristana.
Ooh.
Most or least?
Probably the least.
I was expecting you to say both.
Yeah, both.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I get asked to like, dance monkey. They really just want to hear a line, and I'm like, yo, you can like look it up online.
I even went into your stream yesterday and someone asked you. I was just like,
it's like, well, it's like an everyday thing now, right? And yeah. I think for someone who is totally new to the stream, it's just a question that I get asked a lot. So I at this point, I'm like, well, I'll say a line, but I've really got to be in the right mood to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's also like 4 years, like a 4-year-old project.
I'm not kidding, Logo. Every stream, every single stream, it's like, hey, oh my God, Tristana, can you do a line? Can you say a line?
Your tombstone is gonna have a push button with like a number of lines.
Yeah. No, the description's just gonna say voice of Tristana, and that's it. Nothing else.
I love that people are still excited about it. It makes me happy. It's
That's
just
cool.
it's just the fact that it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not the hired clown at a birthday party, okay? I want to play games right now, and this is what you're gonna get. Sit down and eat your birthday cake.
Do you have a most favorite voice?
Oh man.
Everybody's like waiting and hoping it's Nickel, but it's not gonna be.
Oh, well, he's not a voice, he's
He's a person.
He's an actual. I guess I can try to impersonate him the best that I can. So this is what my piggy bank sounds like. And his name is Nickel the Pig, and he's very happy that everyone is there in the stream, and he wants you all to have a very good day, and just eat a lot of donuts because donuts are good for you. I hope I did that justice for him, because I really am not sure that he's, he better be okay with it. I don't know.
Hey, what about you?
Favorite voice? Well,
Favorite, least favorite.
Yeah, the favorite weapon you've got in your arsenal.
I don't have like one that I hate the most yet. But I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, I'm working on it. But there's always Lydia who comes out during my RP sessions when I murder people ruthlessly, slitting their throat and whatnot. So Lydia's probably the best one.
I love her. She smokes like a long cigarette or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Quiet, capital, royal. That's great.
I feel like your least favorite would be like an Australian accent, right? Because
but that's only because I can't do it and I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
and chat teases you endlessly.
Australian is very. It's so hard.
It's
you
not.
Just don't know. You just don't know which one you don't know what you're gonna have to do, because it's like it's sort of the boundaries of like British and then Australian. This is like a real like exaggerated, because I just try to think of Nicole Kidman, who all of her eyes are like E's, and it's freaking hard, dude. I'm like, how do you keep
basically
up with this?
British? Yeah.
How do you do this? But it's also not British. It's not British at all.
Crikey.
It's the wonkiest crap.
Grilled shrimp on the Barbie.
I wear clothes on my feet. Steve Irwin. God bless him.
Poor Steve.
Poor Steve.
Moment of silence. Anyways, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for us today.
One more thing.
All right.
I
Go
got
for
one.
it. All right.
I've been holding on to this for a while.
All right.
Because I was waiting for the Q&A. It's my cue.
It's my cue.
It's my cue. Who are your voice actor heroes or inspirations, or the people that you look up to? Now, I know that we had Robin Williams as like a childhood introductory star from Faye, but what else? What is especially like contemporarily? What are you guys feeling?
Well, obviously Elspeth.
I love her.
No.
Okay.
Did I get my kiss ass points yet?
Stop it. You stabbed it. Oh my god.
I don't really know who else. Like, I guess everybody loves Laura Bailey, obviously. She's great. She's in everything, right? That's that's how this works.
She is. She is. You know, if I had to say like inspiration, like actually draw inspiration from people, I don't know. I think popular people. I think Aaron Hansen, Mr. Ego Raptor, has been a huge influence. His energy, his warmth, his just ability to make really any character stand out is really unique. And I really respect him a lot for that. But I'd say people I know, like people close to me, my mom and my uncles, they are some of the funniest people I have ever met. And my mom and her brothers, two brothers, the three of them in a room. I mean, they're the life. They're the life of anything. It's amazing. You get them together and they're just all like back and forth. The banter is like, I can't keep up with this. So as a kid, you're like, well, gosh, I should probably be this exciting because, growing up with like Italian relatives who are just constantly doing all of this. And it's just a lot of like, they just play off of each other. I'm like, this is phenomenal. So really learning to like grab and hold on to that spark and kind of put that spark into every character and into every voice, make it unique somehow is really, really important. And I think I really learned that skill from them.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah. Family.
All right, Hunter, anything else? Any other questions you want to throw? One more. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us today, guys. Let's do some shout outs. Elspeth, FhaeLin, you guys are beautiful, fantastic, hilarious people. Can you guys tell us where the heck we can find you on the interwebs?
Well, I was gonna say on the internet. So
I stole that.
I mean, like all of my social medias are FhaeLin, so that's it.
What are you playing? What are you streaming? What are you up to?
Playing Sekiro and bashing my head against a wall a few times. It's it's fun. That's pretty much it right now.
Sweet. I'm Elspeth. You can find me at twitch.tv/Elspeth. My Twitter is my full handle, Elspeth Eastman is my name. And I guess I broke the cardinal rule of never using your full name in anything, but I was like, you know what? I like my name. I'm gonna use it. And now I get asked all the time if it's related to magic, which it's totally not.
Oh, really?
But some people can, so they can think that.
Misdirection. See, that's good. You're like, no, it's not.
Misdirection. Exactly.
Except that it totally is.
People are like, oh, so how often do you play magic? Like, well, buddy, never. That's the correct answer to that question. But no, I think that's another thing is if you have like a screen name or whatever, eventually, if you want to do voice acting, you're going to have to start using your full name. I mean, you can't just go by, Peanut Butter Sneakers 1987 for the rest of your life. You're going to have to use your full name.
Time, yeah.
I think you just killed Faye.
I'm sorry, Faye. You're gonna have to get professional there, Peanut Butter. Okay, listen, not to call you out, but gonna have to do that.
I'm good.
Okay.
Hunter, what about you?
Can't stop, won't stop Sekiro. I think I'm not gonna be taking my 2 days off this week because I'm just gonna keep streaming it because I don't know how to quit.
Don't tell me how good it is. I don't want to hear it.
Don't
talk about it.
You can find me on twitch.tv/TheHunterWild, where apparently I stream too much. Brand new titles. Them's the brands. Coming up next is like Tropico 6. That's this Friday.
Yes.
And then right after that is Anno 1800. Days Gone is after that. Rage 2 is after that. Everything else is after that. And on Twitter at the Hunter Wild TV, Instagram Hunter Wild, where I take pretty pictures of sometimes my toe shoes.
Your toe shoes.
They're pretty great.
Yeah.
I guess I need to
find that?
I just
Instagram.
I need to check your Instagram. I gotta check it out. Now I need to know.
What about you, Loco?
You can find me at twitch.tv/LOWCO. twitter.com/loco2525. I am currently addicted to Satisfactory.
Yes.
It's a very satisfaction-y. I ruined that. It's very satisfactory. It's more than satisfactory. It's satisfactory. It's amazing. It's addicting. I love it.
I love it.
It's so good, guys. Anyway, so that's what I'm addicted to, and I will be at PAX East, and so will Faye. Elspeth, are you going to PAX East?
Ooh, Elspeth not going to PAX East.
No. Okay, so me and Faye.
Streaming. Yeah, no, PAX East too cold, y'all.
I know we're gonna die in a snowstorm probably, but we will see you guys there. Yes.
I'll be in Berlin.
Oh my gosh. I hope it's good. Good luck.
I hope so too.
You're the guinea
I'm
pig.
Yeah, we'll wait for you to go, and then we'll decide.
Yeah.
Report back. This is Green Giraffe, the Blue Tiger, TwitchCon sucks over.
And if you guys enjoyed this content, you guys can follow the Twitch channel. We do a show every single Monday here for the stream scene. We have other content here as well. And you can check us out on YouTube, the website, StreamerSquare.com, and Twitter. And we also put the show on Anchor now. So if you guys like to listen to the podcast version, you can check it out on Spotify, iTunes, and whatever podcasting app that you use. So,
That's smart.
Yeah, we just started doing that.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
Goes a sharp one.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it, guys. Do we know what next week's show is? Hunter.
I don't think so.
Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week, guys.
Thank
See
you
guys
for
soon.
having us.
Yes, thank you.